Hey there, YouTube friends, Mass Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again today. I do appreciate it. We are once again back in BroAcres for another episode, and we are getting the barn done today. I wanted to get the barn in. You can't have a farm, at least I don't think you can. I don't think you can have a farm without a barn. And so that's what we're doing. I actually considered using the barn that I made for Commando Santa's dedication shop, the Commando Santa and Gifts shop that's in Conifer Slopes. I considered it, using it, and just ripping out the Christmas interior, but I decided, we'll make a fresh new barn. It's actually very similar to the barn we did make for Commando Santa, because I mean, a barn is kind of a barn. You're gonna see me fiddle a little bit here, like right here with the roof options. I love this shape. This shape was my preferred shape, but they don't have roofs in that shape. It's the four height, I don't even know what they call it, but it's the peak here. They don't have that in many roof pieces, which is, I hate to say it, kind of absurd. So I couldn't do that. I had to settle for this shape, and this shape is good. But I really wanted that longer, steeper sloped roof to come almost all the way down to the super shallow roof, and obviously that doesn't happen here. So, oh well. That being said, I think it's still a nice barn. I like this. It is a little bit different than the one I made before. You can see we're fiddling a little bit with height here to get it to work just right. And another thing about nice thing, I'm kind of glad I ended up putting it here, is because one of the things I noticed from my reference images is that there's usually like a main guest entrance, but then there's also at least one other entrance for these farms for like employees and stuff. And I would assume for non-festival seasons, like they use all the entrances. So by having this barn this close to the road, it made a lot of sense to put a like main backstage area right by the barn, which then also meant paving a good chunk of it. So like I said, I wanted especially this front half to be paved, at least to have paved corridors. And you will see later on in the episode, we will go ahead and we will have quite a bit of the natural paving. We're going to create kind of a mini food court area, I suppose, where most of your food options will be placed. Saw this in a reference image I was searching for, having a sign painted on the roof of the barn, and I loved it so much I figured I would put it in there. It's a little glitchy. It's not perfect. It's not like sinking them into walls, or there's something about the roofs that when you lay it on there, I guess it's not laid on there as flush as it could be, and I worked it as best I could. But when you zoom out any respectable distance, it does get a little glitchy. So I was gonna have to say good enough on that front. And again, having this connection here makes sense to me for the off-season portion, but I put some barriers in there to make sure that you couldn't just let people walk around. I do end up throwing a bunch of barriers around again in this episode so that we can start putting the peeps where we want them to go and making sure that they are not cutting through things like the little pumpkin piles there. I don't want them able to cut through that. So yeah, this is my first attempt at a backstage, like a paved area, and it doesn't last for very long. Wanted to put some fences in. These actually don't make it to the end of the episode. I figured we would delineate like the exit, and then I'm gonna go in and we're gonna put in some porta potties. So that fence was in preparation for the porta potties, but we end up doing them a little bit different because I forgot that the porta potties I made are double. They look double-sided even though they don't function that way. But anyway, here we are, adding some of that natural pavement and natural pathing, and I do not like the little textured pattern, and I don't think there's any way. Like I tried to use the other pathing, and it didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. But you know, end of the day, once everything is on it, it looks a lot better than it does right now. So just stick with me through some, you know, the picnic benches down, and now we're gonna get working on some of these custom stalls. Now the issue I'm running into here is I want them to function, but in order to function, you need that big cube to sell things, which is really unfortunate. We could really, really use something like they had in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, where it's just the counter. and you can make a custom stall where you can make it sell whatever you want. I don't know if that's even possible, but if anyone from Frontier ever watches my stuff, I might tweet at them. We need just a custom vendor. Either it's just the person or it's just a person and a counter. And from there you can go and put in whatever you want. And I know it can be done because they've got this whole restaurant technology dropping next week. A couple days from now, actually. And if you can make a restaurant, that one little building that you're going to make as your entrance to your restaurant, if you can make that sell whatever you want, well, then you should be able to make something else, model something else that can sell whatever it wants. So maybe we'll get that going. So if you, so that's my big soapbox for today. Is I love that, because then what I could do is I could put one of those vendors out. And build a tent around it and theme it and make it look right, like this kettle corn stall. Instead of a goofy animatronic, I could put a staff member in there and actually sell something and people could use it. And I could hide any sort of little counter they give me with the pieces available to us. I would kill for that. I would love that. That would be a great thing to have. So I just totally talked over that entire building development. However, these buildings are so simplistic. There's really not much to them. Again, a big thing I'm doing in this project to keep scale down is using the wall pieces that are meant to go underneath the coaster entrance and exits. They work great as half walls. Like that is kind of a half wall piece that we have, and I know other people have probably been using it for forever, but I just started using it in this project intentionally. So it's really nice to have, especially when it comes to having to use the vendors. You can add a half wall without obstructing the vendor, which is great. I like that a lot. So again, some really simple structures here, just making sure that we can sell some things, and you can see how instantly popular they are. This park has nothing. It has one soda shop, one fried chicken shop, and by the end of the episode we'll add a water shop, and that is all, and then some bathrooms. I guess for this episode we were trying to lay some of the basic facilities down, and that's something we're going to work on again in the next episode. We're going to put down some more shops and things so that the people are a little happier. I'm also going to put a guest cap on. I think right now we're hovering at around 1,100 people. That is huge for the amount of stuff we have them to do. So I'm probably going to knock it down to about 500. I don't want it to just be slammed. I don't want the people to all, you'll see if you catch it, they all bunch up in places. So I don't like that. So we'll have to fix that. Here we are adding some more of those barriers, like I mentioned, making sure they don't, now that we have the paths in, and I'm trying as best I can to hide the silly little nubbins, the stumps. And I'm going to go in and with a fine-tooth comb and hide as many of those as I can. But it is Pumpkinpalooza, so it's really easy to just throw down some hay and some pumpkins wherever we need it. Using this cart here to hide some more of them. You can see hay and pumpkins are where it's at. Barrels are great. You know, typical rustic foliage and rustic scenery. So I'm not giving these any really name brands because I figured it would be just local people that come in and make the food. Like one of the things at the Christmas tree farm we used to go to growing up. In central Illinois, they had, you know, you could go into the barn and get your cider and your hot cider and your donuts. But then they also had the Lions Club was just outside the little tree farm, like on property, just not in the property, if that makes sense, like out where the parking lot is. And they would sell pork chop sandwiches. The Lions Club would sell pork chop sandwiches outside the Christmas tree farm. So maybe we'll have something like that, like Boy Scouts present, I don't know, pulled pork sandwiches or something. That'd be kind of interesting. A neat way to incorporate some more of that. Someone mentioned, oh, you also notice I fixed the coaster. Thank you for those comments, those suggestions. You are completely right. These kinds of coasters would not have block brakes, would not have two trains. It would roll right on the station. And we'll see if we give it a second lap. Once that update drops, we'll see if that happens. I also was fiddling with some lattice ideas. And I got to fiddle with it some more. I'm going to go take a look at how I did it in Surfside. And I'll probably steal the lattice from there like I did the porta potties and probably put it in. Because I like the idea of like a faded lattice underneath the coaster. And then I might look at extending that tent like somebody suggested in the comments. So I am reading and responding, and you'll see me here. I think it was Swiss on BroNation. It could be. No, it wasn't. Duct Tape Forum, maybe? Silent Member? One of those guys on BroNation. He made hay bales for people to sit on, liked the idea, so I am also doing it. So I did not think of this on my own. I saw it, and I'm implementing it. I wish I could connect a bench to a scenery collection, but you can't, unfortunately. So you'll notice I repaved here. I think it's a lot better. It's a lot cleaner and neater. Then it's a matter of going ahead. Here's some more wings and string trucks I linked in the previous video. I linked his workshop. Check it out. Decided that the railings here, the fencing here, was a little too close to the barn. We need to have a door on that side. So fiddling with the fences, kind of finalizing the property line for the farm here. It does get really close to the street, which is probably not the most realistic thing. You'll also notice my fences just kind of are there without any particular reason. Here they are. Here's the porta potties. I ended up going, like I said, going into Surfside Pleasure Pier and ripping out those. And you can see they are immediately a hit. However, they only use those first ones. Like, come on, there's 3. I get, like, you want to use the closest one, but if that line is full, go use some of the others. And they eventually, I guess, do get to that, so. Adding some more foliage and stuff wherever the opportunity arises, making it kind of feel kind of lush and stuff. Wanted to add a storage shed in the back here, so that's what we're doing here. And just using the default colors, really, browns and rusty reds, and just making it kind of look worn and dirty, because it would be. It's a farm. Things are not necessarily neat and fancy on a farm, so. Yeah, and then we're going to try to clutter it up as best we can here. With the little dollies and trash bags, and I would assume trash would be one of the big issues with these festivals. Like, I don't know, would they have dumpsters? I guess they would. They'd get probably something with the city or the county or whatever to come and pick up dumpsters and stuff. Maybe we'll throw a dumpster in. Maybe we should do that. I don't know, we'll see. But just throwing in the stuff, put a random rat in. So anybody that doesn't watch this and downloads it, wonder if they'll find the rat. It pretty much hides under the truck. I kind of like that, though. There I was toying with a dumpster. Ended up not keeping it, but we'll see. So you may have noticed that today is a bit of a shorter episode. I actually got this all done in one playthrough. And I don't mind these shorter episodes. It allows me to get more stuff out to you. And I like kind of getting as much done in a day as I can. So I had some time, pounded out about an hour and 45 minutes worth of playing for you. And yeah, so you might expect these. You've noticed they've all been around 15 minutes. They're probably all going to be around that. So this is our final structure for this episode. Just a little water stall, really small. I might have a collection of these 1x1s all down the row here, just to provide more options. Shut up, cat. And so that's about going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please, shut up, cat. Please hit the like button. And if you are new or you have been watching but haven't yet, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the Planet Coaster or other things that are on the channel. With that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever, and I will see you for the next... Oh, I dropped my pen. I will see you for the next episode of BroAcres. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.